Fanatics with Chad Lee and Chris Zane.
And we are back.
Oh, yeah.
It is episode 66 of Fringe Fanatic Sports Podcast. I am Chris Zane.
And I'm Chad Lee. Thanks for tuning in.
Yes, as always, thank you all for tuning in. We appreciate it greatly. If you haven't yet, please go like, share, subscribe, and follow us at all things social media at Fringe_Fanatics.
Please do.
And as always, if you are watching or listening right now, make sure to hit that subscribe button and rate us 5 stars. It means the world to us.
Oh, yeah.
It makes the podcasting and music world go around in the streaming era. So
It's essential.
it is. It really is.
Oh, yeah.
Episode 66, as we have been doing for a while now, is dedicated to a sports star who wore that number and was the best at wearing said number. And that number this week is
Mario.
66, a.k.a. Mario Lemieux.
Oh, yeah.
I saw what you were doing there. I kind of jumped the gun on you a little bit.
It's all
I'm
good,
sorry.
man. He's got lots of nicknames. We can keep building it up. Super Mario, El Magnificent.
Yeah, Le Magnifique,
Yeah.
if you want to go French.
To me, I
French.
think he's probably the third best hockey player of all time.
Yeah.
He could be arguably the second.
Yeah,
you know?
we'll see. I mean, there's still a lot of guys going right now who may end up being the best, so we'll see how that goes. But
Yeah,
as of right
that's
now,
for sure.
Yeah, Mario Lemieux played parts of 17 seasons in the NHL for the Pittsburgh Penguins between 1984 and 2005. He went on to assume ownership of the franchise in 1999. As Chad said, he was nicknamed the Magnificent One, Le Magnifique, Super Mario, due to his combination of size, strength, athleticism, and creativity, which made him one of the greatest players of all time. He was a gifted playmaker and fast skater despite his large size. He often beat defensemen with fakes and dekes, which is what made him one of the more, dangerous NHL players.
And he was too, man. Won NHL's most valuable player 3 times. The Art Ross Trophy 6 times, which is the league's points leader. Conn Smythe Trophy is the playoffs MVP in 91 and 92 because he did lead the Penguins to Stanley Cup championships in 91 and 92. And then after he became a owner and they ended up winning again in, where did I have that a second? I'm just lost. It was like 2000. Hold on. I lost it.
I hate when that happens.
I know. I just fucking had it earlier, though. But they won again, I think, 2011, 2015, 2017. And he became the only owner to have his name on a trophy as an owner and a player.
Yeah, that's very true.
2009, 2016, and 17 is also when they won.
Crazy thing about him, too, he was never able to play a full season, and during his career, he played in 70 or more games in a season on only 6 occasions. 4 of those seasons were before the age of 25. His career was plagued with health problems that limited him to 915 of a possible 1,430 games. He actually ended up retiring after getting diagnosed with Hodgkin's lymphoma in 2000. When was it? Oh, it was in 1997. He found out he had Hodgkin's lymphoma, retired, and came back in 2000 and ended up playing another 6 seasons. So one of the greatest players of all time in terms of the NHL, also one of the great owners, won multiple golds for the 2000 World Cup, the Olympic Games in 2002 in Salt Lake City, and the Canada Cup in 1987. So he was one of the more renowned NHL players, and now, was a really good owner as well. So
Yep. He drafted Crosby and got 3 more championships after he was an owner.
yeah,
Pretty impressive.
very, very impressive. Let's get into our weeks. How have you been, Chad?
I have been good. We had a really good weekend. Friday night we went to State House and just chilled and had some good dinners. Then on Saturday, I told you I was going to do this. With all the fantasy winnings that I got from getting at least second place, Took Hannah out to Shanahan's.
You went and ate in enemy territory.
I did, too, and I knocked over the Super Bowl trophy afterwards.
No, you didn't.
I wish.
You
Definitely wish. But, yeah, it was fantastic, dude. It was a pretty penny, but it was definitely worth it. And
What'd you get?
I got the ribeye. Yeah,
Nice.
she
You
got the
don't wanna go
ribeye,
prime
too.
rib. You don't want to go fancy.
They did have some Wagyu ribeye on there, like bone in, but I think it was like
fucking
$190. Yeah.
That's great. For how many ounces?
I think it was 16. Mine was 16 ounces. It was $75.
So a pound.
Yep, right at a pound.
One time I went to it's something Daughters. It might be Double Daughters. It's like a butcher shop down in like the Highlands, and they had like bone-in ribeyes and shit like that. But it was aged like 30 days.
Oh, like a dry aged one?
Yeah, dry aged. I got 4 steaks for $130.
Wow.
And they were only like an inch thick, but and then you realize too, like the bone kind of fucks you because you're paying for that weight of a bone that you're not even gonna eat.
That's a good point.
So you're like, oh shit. But that's cool though. So you did State House, and then you got to watch the Chiefs clinch again.
That was good. Yeah, we went to Don's.
One of the worst divisions in football. You know, but what are you gonna do?
Yeah, but yeah, still 8 straight. That felt good, especially in the Chiefs' worst year,
crashing
in 7
and burning
years.
into it.
Yeah, we'll take it, man. We'll take it. We hadn't been to Don's since the Packers game, so it was good to get back. It felt really good, and since it was New Year's Eve, we had the next day off, and yeah, we got a little drunk, so we had some fun.
A little intoxicated.
Yep, yeah. Our good buddy Andy, who lives around here in Reunion, he drove us back, and he was like, "If you guys need to catch an Uber, I'll drive back."
Yeah,
saved us $80.
Yeah, seriously.
Yeah, so that was cool.
Save an insane amount of money just on that alone.
That's right. Shout out to Andy,
Yeah,
and then
Andy.
that was pretty much the weekend. It was a good time.
Here we are.
Yep,
Tuesday.
Watched a lot of college football yesterday.
Yeah. I didn't really follow along in the college football, but I mean, I knew it was happening.
Yeah.
I know enough to talk about it, so I've got that going for me. But
how was your week?
It wasn't too bad. Friday night, we went out to one of Meryl's, I guess what you call it, colleagues from the Magic Makers Market that she does all of those markets with.
Okay.
And kind of went out to one of their houses and hung out and did kind of like the holiday party for them, which was pretty cool. A bunch of people brought like potluck style. Everybody brought food and shit. And then I actually hit a dab rig, which I did not know existed. It was charged off a USB-C.
Oh, wow.
And it was like
an e-rig?
Basically.
Oh, okay.
This is my first time. I felt like I was in the future.
Yeah.
She's like, you just push it twice, and then it'll buzz when you need to hit it. And I was like, what do you mean? She's like, it'll vibrate. And I was like, what is this?
That's some cool shit. Have you ever hit a Puffco?
No.
Yeah, Puffcos are pretty nice, too.
Is
Because
that
you
the
can
same
really
thing?
dial in the temperature.
Oh.
So.
I was talking to some girl at a dispensary a while ago, and she was like, yeah, I've got this thing where, like, it's it's like Wi-Fi, and she could on her way home like log into it and like get it heated up for right when she got there. And I was like, you're living in the future, man.
Yeah,
that's great.
going too
you might
far,
as well
man.
have a flying car.
Those
as
are the
far as
people
I'm
that need to
concerned.
dab like 18 times a day.
Yeah, but yeah,
That's
so
crazy.
That was pretty cool. Saturday we just kind of hung out and didn't do too much. And then Sunday, we went to the Broncos game.
Yeah.
Saw the debut of Jarrett Stidham.
The new franchise quarterback.
For now. Till maybe he might be on the team next year. Who the hell knows what's happening?
Did Meryl have a good time?
Yeah, she did have a good time. We sat by some cool people. They handed out fucking 2024 light-up glasses. Dude, we got there, like, literally... Kickoff had just happened. The first offensive series was starting. Someone stole our fucking glasses out of our cup holders, dude.
Oh, like they placed it on there. I see. Damn.
I'm pretty sure it was the guy next to us. And Meryl was even like, oh no, somebody stole our glasses, like kind of loud.
Yeah.
Because obviously it's someone in the general area that did it. And the guy didn't say anything.
Oh, what an asshole.
But we ended up with some. So
cool.
But,
nice.
Yeah. So that was pretty cool. I ended up also getting a little intoxicated at the game.
You should.
came home, started making dinner, and then I fell asleep on the couch, and Meryl couldn't wake me up, so she ate dinner without me.
Oh no! What were you making?
I started smoking chicken, like drumsticks.
Okay.
And we're gonna do some shrimp skewers too, and yeah, I fell asleep.
Damn, dude. Going to the game, that'll do it, man.
I ate dinner alone, and I was like, yeah, sorry about that. But I did wake up right at midnight, so I woke up in time for New Year's. So.
That's fucking
And then I
funny,
walked in,
man.
she was already sleeping, and I was like, Happy New Year's! She's like, yeah, you fucking fell asleep. And I was like, yeah, I know.
Oh, man. That's a great sign that we're getting old when...
Oh, Meryl just chimed in. Western Daughters.
Oh, that was the name of the place. Cool.
Yeah.
Thanks, Meryl.
And Meryl also
check
said
it
it
out.
was the quietest game ever, which it was, and a lot of people did end up leaving early. And, I mean, nobody gave a shit, dude.
Yeah, I mean, it was a pointless game. I mean, realistically, you guys should have lost to try to get a better draft pick.
Yeah, well, we might luck out because, we may end up with Michael Penix. You never know.
Or Jane Daniels. You never know,
Might
man.
fall right in their lap. So,
Yep. But he's probably eventually going to get in a shouting match with Sean Payton, and then Sean Payton's going to kick him out of town.
yeah.
And the cycle will start all over again.
In another 7 years.
Yeah.
It's like we broke a mirror and then just broke another one. Like we were just about to get over it, and then we're like,
Here's
fuck
another
that
one.
mirror.
Well, dude, we can get into it later, but I didn't get a chance to talk to you about it today at work, but did you see where the Broncos might get it?
They could get
face
sued.
legal action
They could
for
get
what they did to
sued.
Russ?
I don't know if they really can, though, because they didn't, like, force him to do it. They was just like, you should.
Suggested it, yeah.
You should.
And the problem is there's no real proof of it.
Well, and at the end of the day, it's all based off of how you play. So if you play like shit, it doesn't matter how much money you're making. You can get benched whenever for whatever reason.
That's true.
Like, I don't know why that's such a big deal, but yeah, I mean, they could be in some trouble. It doesn't look good. They made Russ look like a saint, which it's not hard to do for Russ, but they made him look like a saint.
And, like you said, that's just his personality. I saw him after the game, maybe it was beforehand or something like that, signing autographs and shit like that. I mean, like, good on him, dude. One thing that is kind of weird, though, I heard he had his helmet on the whole game.
No, dude, he's wild. He's a different type of human being.
What? Not
he's
even
ready,
a second-string quarterback does that.
To be fair, though, his helmet probably still has the shit in it. So he's probably listening to everybody.
I guess I didn't think about that. He was listening to the play, wanted to know what's going on.
And then Dan said something today because he listens to 104.3 a lot. I've basically gave up on 104.3. But he was saying something about they showed Russell like 60 sometimes on the broadcast.
Yeah.
So, and because, of course, anything happens, they're like, what's Russ doing?
Yep.
Cut to Russ, please.
We need something exciting
We
in
need
this
more
game.
footage of Russ with his helmet on the sidelines.
I felt like that game was like 13-6 for the longest time.
It really was.
Yeah.
And then we ended up missing a field goal at the end. Yeah, it was not a fun game. But needless to say, it is what it is.
Well, at least you went there with Meryl. That's cool.
Yeah,
man.
we got to spend time together. We did have a good weekend, so that was exciting.
Nice. It's a good way to kick off the new year.
Yes,
and we're going to
yes.
kick off the new year with some headlines.
It's time for headlines.
Yep.
Headlines! Get your headlines here!
That's right. We're getting into headlines. We're going to start it off with the NFL like we always do because the NFL rules all.
Personal foul, 69, offense. He was giving them the business.
He's giving them the business. So, yes, it is time to get into the NFL, and as we do each and every week, we like to start off with the negatives because we'll get those out of the way and stick to positives for the rest of the
It's the dreaded injuries every single week.
The dang old injuries. Chad, start us off, please.
All right, this one we found out today isn't that big of a deal. Christian McCaffrey left the game with the calf, but it looks like that was just a precaution. Because they are the number one seed, he's going to get 2 weeks basically to heal it up.
I think 3 actually. By the time they really play with this week,
Yeah, I guess
the
that would
week
be about
off, and
3
then
weeks.
another week, you get 3 fucking
God
weeks.
damn. That's when we talk about rust for these number one seeds. It is a real thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, he left the game. Said he just wasn't able to push off of it. Doesn't sound like it's too serious.
He looked okay.
Yeah, he did. Let's get into the Ravens. They lost Marlon Humphrey to a calf. Did not return. That's their star cornerback.
I mean, they're probably going to sit down most people this week anyways, just because they also clinched.
It is, debatable, though, because a lot of people have brought up the last time they got the number 1 seed, they rested a lot of people the last week of the season. And then, I believe this is 2019, they go in as the number 1 seed and just get shellacked by the Titans.
Yeah.
And then we play the Titans in the AFC Championship. So, there's that.
Yeah, there is that. So we'll see how that ends up playing out. Other big names in terms of what could be happening here in the playoffs, the Buffalo Bills are without Dawson Knox heading into the final week of the season.
Hurt his head.
Got a boo-boo on the head.
Yeah.
The head boo-boo.
Bumped it.
Boo-boo on the head.
He got a concussion. Then in the Packers, A.J. Dillon got a stinger. Yeah. If no one knows, maybe people listen to the show just because they're our family and they support us. If they're not sure what a stinger is, it's basically like if you could get it from a car wreck or anything like that. It's like a jolt in your neck, basically.
It's like a pinched nerve that just like shuts everything down almost.
You almost just like feel like you got shocked on like one side of your body or something. It's definitely not healthy or smart to get back out there afterwards because you can face more nerve damage or anything worse. But also in that game, Jaden Reed hurt his chest. Maybe a broken heart. I don't know.
Probably.
Yeah.
Hey, they're doing good, though. Leave them alone.
Yeah, they're
cruising,
doing really
man.
good. And he was ruled out in that game.
Let's move on to the Houston Texans as they lose one of their prime offensive tackles, Laramie Tunsil. Groin, the dreaded groin. Those ones will just never go away. Also, wide receiver Noah Brown with a hip was ruled out versus the Titans. And Robert Woods, also a hip, did not return against the Titans.
Facing lots of injuries.
Dang old hips, man.
Yep. All right, and the next guy for the Dolphins, he's cursed, I think.
Yeah.
I think you said this might be his third time.
I don't think it is actually his third. He did have a bunch of ankle injuries and stuff. And I think he tore his ACL.
It was the first year he went to Dolphins, I think, right?
No,
was it with you guys?
It was with us, I think.
Yeah.
So.
Okay.
Bradley Chubb cannot stay healthy, unfortunately.
Yep.
He does have a significant knee injury. He is out for the year with an ACL.
Yep.
He shouldn't even have been in the game, and that's kind of been a point of contention for a lot of Miami fans. Is like, why in a blowout when we're losing 56-19? Is he even in there?
Exactly.
What is going on? What
and
are we doing?
I'll tell you Mike Daniels' response. He said, we need to push forward and try to get some progress. But I guess he means like, let's try to get some momentum even though we're losing this game to go into the next game. But then you see the repercussions from that.
Yeah, and also Tua suffered a shoulder injury late in that loss too. So we'll see
it was
how
on his
serious
shoulder,
that is.
on his throwing shoulder.
Because the lefty.
Yeah, he's got that left shoulder. Mm-hmm. And then they lost their star cornerback as well. I mean, they got two of them, but this one's another shutdown one. Xavier Howard left with a foot injury, left on a cart too.
No, that's not good.
Haven't heard any update, but I mean, those are three huge injuries. And they next week play the Bills for the division.
Basically, winner takes all on the division. Or is there tiebreakers the Bills have to fucking worry about? I can't remember, but it is basically down to like if the Bills win, they've pretty much set themselves up to take the division.
It's really weird because if they win, they would get the number 2 seed. If they lose, they're out of the playoffs.
Yeah, which is so crazy.
That's
it's
insane.
Yeah.
I mean, if that doesn't show you that
Normally
Josh Allen,
it's like you'll be a wild card. It's like, no, you're done.
I think I'm going to draft Josh Allen this week because I think he's going to be trying to put all of the Superman capes on.
I think he has 8 rushing touchdowns in like the last 3 or 4 games,
and he also has like 19 turnovers this year too.
It's okay, if you get it in by yourself, you don't need to worry about turnovers.
Yep.
Other big news in terms of injuries. New England Patriots wide receiver Devontae Parker ribs did not turn versus the Bills. New Orleans Saints running back Alvin Kamara and linebacker Nefi Sewell were ruled out. Kamara with an ankle, Sewell with a knee against the Buccaneers. An offensive tackle Landon Young did not return in that game either.
All right. And then the Eagles, Devontae Smith, left the game in a boot. News came out today. It is just like a mild ankle sprain, but we'll be monitoring that because the Eagles have lost 4 out of their last 5.
Yeah, 4 out of their last 5, and things are not looking good for a team that started out 9-1 to start the season.
So crazy, man. I deep dove them.
He dove deep in them.
Dove deep in the Eagles, and so I've got a little more to say about that.
Yeah.
The last one, though, Will Levis.
He got it right.
Yeah,
Look at
I
him
did.
go.
I've been practicing this week. Yeah, he hurt his foot.
Ruled out versus the Texans. But Ryan Tannehill injured the game. So, we'll see how that goes. I didn't realize, did you know that behind Patrick Mahomes, Ryan Tannehill has the largest cap hit in terms of quarterbacks in the NFL this season? $36 million.
No, I didn't know that.
That's pretty wild.
I had no idea.
Yeah,
He's not even been
started
playing
for like 5 weeks.
Wow, I was not aware of that.
The NFLPA better get in that one and see what's going on.
Yeah. That sounds a little fishy.
But anyways, let's get into the headline, I guess the news of the NFL.
Let's do it.
Where should we go first? Let's go with one thing that kind of came out today, which I don't know if you guys saw it, but David Tepper was fined $300,000 for throwing a drink on a fan in the the Jags game? Yeah.
It's the Panthers owner.
Panthers versus the Jags. Panthers owner David Tepper, who's worth like 20-some billion, got fined $300,000, which to most people is like a speeding ticket in terms of like if you're going to pare it down to what it would be to us in terms of that amount of money. But
if you haven't seen the video, just type it in, and it is, entertaining, but also embarrassing for him. I mean, for him to be an owner and act like that,
he's in
Jesus.
He's in the owner's box, and like I think an interception happens, and one of the Jags fans turns around and says something to him, and from inside the owner's box, he just is like,
tosses his drink on him,
throws a drink in this dude's face, and now he got fined for $300,000, which,
as he should.
Like we said, is a drop in the bucket for him. But what are you gonna do?
Yeah.
Take us somewhere else, Chad.
Well, let's get into the controversial Cowboys and Lions game, where if nobody saw, if they were maybe living in a hole over the weekend, the Lions got screwed. I mean, it's a really sketchy situation where, even casual football fans can get a little confused by it. Basically, if extra lineman goes out there, they need to report because they could possibly touch the ball, like on a pass or something. And they had 2 linemen report. From all the video evidence, it looks like he reported. And
possibly both of them reported. They were both over there. We don't really know what happened.
Saying something to the ref, but maybe the ref's like, I just shared a meme to the page just right after work that I thought was pretty hilarious, where it's these 2 linemen walking to the ref, and over the ref, the text says me, and on the lineman it says my wife telling me something important, because I think that ref just didn't listen to him. So right after that, the Lions run a play where, yes, the lineman goes out there, catches a pass for the 2-point conversion, which would have put them up over the Cowboys with like 23 seconds left. And then, they get called for legal touching, and it has caused a storm in the NFL. And these guys, this reffing crew, had been demoted. It came out, I think, on Saturday.
They supposedly won't be reffing any playoff games.
That's what we've heard so far. And then news came out today, just before we started recording, that they are actually going to be doing the primetime game on Saturday, the Ravens and Steelers game.
Yeah.
So you call it a promotion, call it whatever you want, but that is, I don't know. That's the league there for you. You screw up, all right, we'll give you a promotion.
Yeah, and this isn't the first game where they've had issues. There was the Marquez Valdez-Scantling play. They were in on that one with the Chiefs.
That led to Andy Reid getting fined.
Yep, and then there was one other game. I think
there was
Jets
the
game.
Jets and Eagles, or no, the Dolphins-Eagles game,
yeah,
where the Dolphins were driving down about to score, and then everybody, as clear as day, can see Bradbury grab onto Jalen Waddle's face mask.
Oh, yep.
They didn't call it. Then, of course, the Dolphins go on to lose that game. And here, I'm glad I remembered this. There's another stat I saw from this, that Brad Allen, when reffing Lions game, I think over maybe past 2 years or something like that, they're 0-6. Yeah.
He doesn't like them.
He doesn't like the Lions.
Grew up in Detroit. He's mad about the water in Flint, and he's mad about the factories leaving.
He misses the Flint Tropics.
It's hard for the NFL, especially when you are now pretty much primarily and exclusively backed by gambling sites and things like that, and you're tied in with these gambling sites at like the utmost entry level in terms of head office and front office of the NFL, to now have these situations where these referees are effectively ruining games.
Yeah.
Where people have money bet on them. I don't know how you can continue to have stuff like this happen and then try and make it a viable thing to be like, yeah, gamble on us.
Exactly. I mean,
we may or may not have control of the situation.
Mm-hmm. I mean, when you see some really weird shit happen where extra points are missed and field goals might be missed, and it just so happens to cover the spread or vice versa. I mean, just really fishy stuff. Like it's getting really hard to follow the sport and respect its authenticity, because I just don't see it. And it happens like you said, the Chiefs-Packers game. We were all just dumbfounded on how that ended up happening. And when it comes down to it, there was another game we didn't even mention. I believe it was like I don't remember who the Falcons were playing, but it was that there was a huge pass interference that they didn't call in that game.
Yeah.
And I don't know, like Brad Allen, to me it's like, if you, I know this is maybe tomatoes or whatever, something like this, but maybe you're just a bank teller and you count the money wrong 6 times and it comes out wrong. Like, you're going to be reprimanded. You know, you're going to be written up, whatever. And nothing seems to be happening with these guys.
Well, I mean, supposedly these guys are going to miss out on the bonuses of the extra, playoff games. But as we all already know, most of these guys in their off time are lawyers, real estate agents, whatever else. They're far from, being to the point where losing out on this extra thing that they do, that the couple tens of thousands of dollars for the few extra games is going to make a difference. I think we looked up prior to getting going here that they make somewhere around like $200 and some $1,000 a year just for reffing the games they're assigned. Mm-hmm. And that's not on top of what they're making outside of this, where they're probably well off in and of themselves in terms of what they're doing professionally. So I just think this is just furthermore proof that they just need to get a legit, fully dedicated, all they do is ref football games.
Especially when you know that the NFL is, I'm not sure what we found the last time we looked it up as far as their net worth, but I want to say it's close to around $7 billion.
Bajillions, dude. They're in the bajillions.
Oh, yeah. It pretty much is. I mean, if you're, $1 billion industry and you can't afford to pay...
you're way off, Chad.
It's
91
billion.
billion.
Up to 91. Wow.
And that
91
says it's
billion.
difficult to place a valuation on the NFL as a whole. That's the 32 franchises. Sorry.
No, but that's how they do it, though, is because they add up each franchise's value. And you can have different ones like Dallas,
billion.
That's $9 billion. And then other ones like the Chiefs, the last time they were valued, I think, at 3.5.
They're probably more than that. Dude, the Broncos sold for like 4.6.
No, they just did this last year. I think the Chiefs are only up to 3.5. But they did the evaluation of like from when Mahomes first came in there, and he's like almost doubled it.
Yeah, easily.
But yeah, I mean, that's just it. Is like, I think you got enough money to pay these guys full time.
Yeah,
and in the off season, make them go through training, make them watch film.
All they should be doing is that.
That's what I'm saying, dude.
Like, that should be your full time job. During the week, you should go and watch every play that was whatever, up in the air, and everybody should sit there and have to watch all of that shit together and figure out a unified way to call these games, because that's the problem. There is no unification in terms of this. It's all up for perception
and bias. I mean, Robert Griffin made a really good point earlier this year when, like everybody's been saying this whole year, it's been an ongoing thing, not even just Brad Allen's crew, but the whole year. And Robert Griffin, ex-QB and he's an NFL analyst now, said these refs are from places. They're from Detroit. They're from Dallas. Yeah. You don't think they're going to have
they all have allegiances
sway
somewhere
in the game? Maybe, I mean, if they're from Dallas and they're reffing a Philly game, it might come out a little one-sided. I mean, they got to vet these guys and make sure they're not going to be biased.
Yeah. Exactly.
I mean, if they've got an Instagram account and 3 years ago they've got a picture of them at a game wearing even Chiefs shit, fucking axe that dude. Get people on there
there's
that's
no
neutral.
Way. But I don't know how you're gonna do that though. You know, like
Dude,
there's no,
it's
no
a job
way to make these people.
You pay these guys $700K a year. You know, that's just
you can't watch football and enjoy it, you son of a bitch.
Yeah, that's pretty much the way it's gonna go, man. It's so dumb. But
Yeah.
we could rant on the refs for hours on end.
Yeah, but real quick, let's just we're not going to figure that out, but we both know that they need to have some form of full-time referees that are watching this shit all the time, and that's all they do, because now you're getting to the point where people have hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars. I mean, fucking what's his name? Portnoy is already freaking out about this stuff because he's lost a bunch of money on shit this year over stuff that is questionable. So, it's going to become a big problem when somebody sues somebody for, what's going on. Is there shady practices happening?
Well,
and then the NFL has to open their books or something, you know? Like,
I mean, it's going to look bad.
Know.
That's for sure.
But real quick, this weekend we do have Saturday games as we are moving into playoff season now. I don't believe there are any more Monday night games except for the wild card weekend. Now we do have that Monday night game, which puts all of those teams that play on Monday night at a severe disadvantage going into the next week. But what do we care? So Saturday we've got Pittsburgh at Baltimore at 2:30, and then at the evening game, Houston versus Indianapolis at 6:15. And then the rest of the games will be on Sunday. I'm not going to go through them all. We've got 6 games in 11, and then it looks like 7 or 8 games in the afternoon slot, and then Buffalo and Miami will round out this week. And as we were just talking about, that is the game you are going to want to watch, as there is so many implications into the playoffs as to what can happen. As Chad said, Buffalo can either go from being in to out with a loss or a win, so it's going to be very entertaining and a good way to wrap up this season. So tune in and be ready for a Sunday chock full of football, as well as a Saturday.
Big implications.
Round out week 18, if you will. Technically week 17. But, we are in the 18th week of the NFL season, and it's over. We've reached the end. So
it's crazy. It flew by, man.
Really did.
Yeah.
Flew by. Time flies when you're having fun, as they say. So,
is that what we're having?
I don't know anymore. I really don't know.
Yeah,
but anyways, let's get into the NBA.
Some basketball.
Baseball.
T, come out. I'm burning. My legs are burning.
My legs are burning. All right, well.
All right.
Let's get into the NBA here real quick.
Let's do it. All right, so we got some good stories to cover. The Pistons finally won a game.
They did. It only took 28 tries after they started out the season 2-1, but they finally did it. I believe it was Saturday night against the Raptors.
It was Saturday night, yep.
Yeah, so they finally did it. The highest paid head coach in the NBA managed to win his third game of the season well into the 30s.
Yeah.
So
not
I don't
good.
know how well that works out, but
I my hat's off to Cade Cunningham for trying to carry that team and showing up for work every day, still balling out. Sometimes he's had 40-point games and they've still lost.
Yeah, which is insane to think about, but that's where they are at, unfortunately, as they are the worst team in the NBA, sitting at a whopping 3 wins and 30 losses, as we are steadily encroaching upon the halfway point of the season. So the other team in last place would be the San Antonio Spurs, sitting with a record of 5-27. So the bottom is the bottom for real in the NBA.
Yeah, there's a very low bottom this year.
Yeah, which is surprising, but
we haven't had it like this in a while.
No, that is true. But there are teams making moves, as the Knicks end up trading. Oh, OG Anunoby is traded to the Knicks, and RJ Barrett and Emmanuel Quickley, as well as a 2024 second-round pick, go to the Raptors. This all happened on Saturday. The Knicks also received forward Precious Achiuwa and guard Malachi Flynn. The Knicks are determined to re-sign Anunoby this offseason. Anunoby, Barrett, and Quickley all did well with their fresh starts. Chad, tell us about it.
Well, Julius Randle had a good debut or good game whenever that guy played. 39 points. Then OG added 17 that game, and that was a game where they won against the number 1 team in the West, the Timberwolves. So yeah, that addition really seemed to help.
It definitely did. And then RJ Barrett had 19 points and 9 rebounds, while Emmanuel Quickley had 14 points in his debut with the Raptors. So yeah, those trades seem to be working out well for both teams as it starts out. So we'll see how it rounds out the rest of the year. But so far, so good for both teams, considering the fact they both sued each other in the beginning of this season for I believe tampering, yeah. So it's just strange. Yeah, we'll sue you and then we'll do a trade together. So
they must have made up.
Yeah, kiss and make up. Yeah. What are you gonna do?
All right. Well, in Utah, Jordan Clarkson records his first triple-double for the Jazz since 2008. I guess I worded that a little weird, but it's the first triple-double for the Jazz since Carlos Boozer in 2008. They've gone 15 years without a player not.
That's crazy because we see one once a week.
Yeah, pretty much once every 3
games. We see
games.
perfect ones. We're just like, what
best
perfect
field, perfect field goal percentage and all.
100%. What? No, it's just
crazy.
Just Jokic being Jokic.
Yep. But Jordan Clarkson had 20 points, 11 assists, and 10 rebounds. This is a guy that's gotten 6 Man of the Year award.
Okay,
I couldn't get it. But yeah, I mean, he's finally had to step up into the starting role now that Donovan Mitchell's not there. So, yeah, does something that hasn't been done for the Jazz in 15 years.
Yeah, which is surprising, considering they had Spider there for a little bit. You know.
Yeah, but I mean, he was nothing but a scorer. Rarely.
I think he would get there at some point, you know.
Yeah, I mean, you would think so.
But other news in the West, the Kyrie, if you will, returns after missing 12 games. He has 14 points, 9 rebounds, and 4 assists in the Mavs' 127-90 loss to the Jazz, speaking of which, on New Year's night. The Mavs went 6-6 in the time that he was out, and Luka averaged 38 points, 8.5 rebounds, and 10.5 assists. Just if you want to touch on how well Luka's been doing, let me just give you a rundown of his December. So we've got a 50-point game, a 40-point game, a 40-point game, a 39, a 39, a 39, a 39, a 38, a 36, a 35, a 33, a 32, and a 28-point game all in December. Dude's averaging like fucking 37 or something like that right now in December. So it's insane. He's looking really good. I can't wait till him and Jokic are teammates at some point here in the near future.
Crazy.
But we'll see how that plays out. Speaking of Jokic, I did listen to Curious Mike.
Yeah, that was pretty
Did
wild.
you listen to it?
Yeah, I did. Well, I mean, I didn't listen to it, but I saw a lot of what he said, and it was, I don't know. I mean, I'm happy for the guy, but yeah, it's like what we talked about. It, you know, it makes me a little worried that he's not going to stick around that long.
No, he'll probably be gone at the end of this contract. Like we said, I think we've got like 4 or 5 years left of Jokic.
Something like that.
Because I think there is an option on the end of it. But, yeah, the guy is a different dude. Says he wants to basically retire and not have a cell phone and doesn't want anybody to know about him. But it was cool, and he kind of brought this up when they won, was that he didn't realize, like, it wasn't until he came back for the ring ceremony, and then they had that, like, montage of, like, all the people in their houses, like, going insane when the Nuggets won.
Oh, cool.
And even when he brought it up there, he's like, I'm getting goosebumps again just talking about it, which is crazy. But he's like, that was the first time that I realized, like, we bring joy to like all these people. And like he's like, I never really thought about it. And he's like, it wasn't until like it was shown to me in like this montage that I was like, oh holy shit, like I'm affecting like all of these people's like daily lives and shit. Like I don't think he ever really realized that.
That's funny that
it's
never
just
really
crazy to
occurred
be
him.
like, especially just coming from like somewhere like America where anybody and everybody now is all about like, you know, how can I get famous? To have this guy who didn't even realize like what his fame was doing.
It's
It's
unreal,
crazy.
man. Yeah.
Like,
I'm sure he's a guy.
fucking anomaly, dude.
It really is, because you never see a guy. I mean, look at just the polar opposites of a guy like LeBron that
me.
wants to keep playing even when his son comes into the league, instead of just being like, okay, this is my son's time. I'm gonna pass the torch to him. He's even got to make sure.
Still averaging like 20 some points,
25 a
so
game. It
what are
sucks.
you gonna do? He's fucking 38.
But that's just it. Is, I mean, he wants to be in the spotlight. Has production companies, be in horrible movies that disgrace Space Jam.
he ruined Space Jam.
Yeah.
I haven't seen it.
And then you look at a humble guy like Jokic that all he cares about is his family. And, you know, he's ready. You know, he said afterwards, he was like, yeah, I hope nobody knows me.
Yeah, I mean, he
The
basically
big point of this, too, is the fact that he said, you know, he hates how he goes into restaurants and everybody just pulls out their phone, you know. And
Yeah.
I get that.
Yeah, he's like, I can't even like. He said something too to Michael about like, you know, he's like, you can't even go like throw something in the trash without somebody being like, can you believe he threw that away? You know, like just, he's like, you don't realize like these little things that like now are like so magnified by just the fact that you're famous and shit. And yeah, it's pretty wild, but
That's too bad. But
it is a bummer. But you know, that's what
Yeah.
he signed up for, and
It
you know,
is.
when
That's
you're
a
the
good point.
greatest, one of the greatest ever.
You got to be willing to, you know, take the shine on. That
He's
comes
just
along with that.
enjoy it while it lasts, because when it's gone, and he ain't coming back,
No.
and we might not ever see him again.
No, and
unless
he
you go to
is
Sombor.
seriously going to be one of the best centers to ever play the game.
Yeah.
And to have him on our team we're so
Yeah,
blessed.
we're pretty lucky. One other thing, though, also in the West, and we'll give you an update on the Celtics as they're playing Oklahoma City in Oklahoma. I think last time I checked they were down, but we'll get you an
it's
update.
tied up 41,
they tied it?
41 right now.
One other thing, though, I did want to talk about as one of the bigger trades this offseason was the Beard going to the Clippers. And I think the first 5 or 6 games, people are like, oh, my God, they fucked up bad because things were not working.
Yep.
They didn't know what
They
was
lost
going
6
on.
straight, I think.
Yeah, but all of a sudden now in December, the Clippers have turned it around. They are the number 1 offense in the West with a 122.6 offensive rating, and they also have the best record in December as they went 11-2. So we'll see if they can keep it going, but the West is now turning into quite the murderer's row of how the hell are you going to get out of the playoffs?
It's going to be tough. Yeah, I mean, it looks like the Warriors will be the ones that are looking on the outside in, maybe.
They could very well be this
Yep.
year. So
Yeah, and I did see something the other day that Kawhi's missed like 3 games due to something. I can't remember what it is. You
Yeah.
know, he's always dealing with some injury, but yeah, he's been out.
He's
So,
one of those guys that is just not healthy very much.
he's been cursed, man. I mean, he's got bad knees, but
He got them knees, man.
yeah,
All right. Well, let's get into a little bit of college football here.
let's do it.
Let's do it.
390. Check. Check. Red 18. Red 18. Needle dick. Needle dick. Needle dick.
Damn.
Oh my God, somebody died.
So violent.
Well,
That was a big weekend in college football.
to some degree. There's really one day, but there was a lot going on in college football. I did want to kind of bring up, it's just now these bowl games are ridiculous. We were kind of talking about it before we got going in terms of like how can you make these matter again? Because we're sitting at a point now where these are just glorified exhibition games where the schools are making money. I mean, case in point was FSU just getting absolutely hammered by the Bulldogs 63-3 as they had like 20-some players sit out, whether it was going to the draft or to the transfer portal, the majority of which were going to the transfer portal.
Yep.
And, you know, after going undefeated and losing Heisman candidate Jordan Travis, they basically sent a JV team to play the best team in football statistically the last 3 years, where even the Bulldogs' second and third string guys are probably borderline NFL players at this point.
Seriously.
You know what I mean?
I think Dan said that there was like a majority of those FSU players that were 17 and 18 years old.
Yeah, that's good. And they're
That's
just out
not
there
even
getting murdered.
Fair, man. The score ended up being 63-3.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the second biggest loss in college football playoff history, both coming at the hands of the Bulldogs as they beat up on.
Well, that wasn't a playoff.
Well, I mean,
You
it's
mean,
just,
like,
I mean,
A
in
bowl
CF,
game.
yeah,
I got you.
yeah.
Yep.
So, I
I
mean,
mean, it
since
was-
it's happened, since we've gone to this playoff structure,
Gotcha. Yeah.
but yeah,
I mean, it was just an embarrassment. I mean, I felt bad for, the Seminoles, and I mean, Georgia did what they needed to do, but I mean, yeah, even Kirby Smart came out and said, like that team shouldn't have been there.
yeah, it's like IMG playing. What was it, Bishop?
Yeah.
It's fuck. It was just it's embarrassing and it's sad to watch, and it's the bowl games back in the day were like the pinnacle of the college football season, and now
bowl
it's
season.
like, who cares?
Yeah, I mean, because a lot of these guys are sitting out because they see the money in the NFL. They don't want to screw that up by an injury. So I don't blame them. I don't. They got to fix this. I told Chris, I mean, what if you do something where you get, instead of a bracket of 12 teams, what they're going to do, make it 24, maybe 32, and you have all these teams that might like get the shit kicked out of them in the first round, but at least those bowl games will matter.
Yeah,
and it's not going to be the Pop-Tarts Bowl that no one gives a shit about.
By the way, that was wild.
That was hilarious. Dude, the Pop-Tarts slapped the ref's butt.
Yeah.
And that
he was like
great.
dancing with everybody, and then they fucking he's like holding that sign that was like something about your dreams as he gets like slowly gets lowered to his death, and fucking follow your dreams
That's
as
just
he gets
it, man.
lowered into a toaster to die.
As we grew up, like it was like, I mean, obviously you got like the Sugar
Tostitos Bowl.
Tostitos Bowl. It's like big
Man.
companies. Now it's like whoever can pay the most money. The Wasabi Bowl.
Was there a Wasabi Bowl?
There was a Wasabi Bowl. It was
Wasabi?
on Saturday.
Wasabi's got that. They just got the market like that.
don't
They're
know.
like,
The
we're
whole-
wasabi, dude.
the whole
all
wasabi.
of wasabi.
Yeah.
The wasabi. Wasabi.
Yeah, it's nuts though. But yeah, okay. So Michigan overcame Alabama in overtime.
Yep.
That was a hell of a game. Went into overtime.
27-20.
Yep. Michigan scored with like a minute 40, I think, left in the game, something like that. And maybe
Jalen
I think it was
Milroe
even less.
and the Jesus Christ, the Crimson Tide had like one of the worst plays to end the season.
It was horrible, man. But it was all due to a low snap.
Yeah,
yeah.
he had to
just-
run it. I don't think he was supposed to run it up the middle, but he's just
No.
like, "This is all I've got."
Yeah, I mean, there were so many bad snaps by that center, and I guess that he had like a ton of them this season, and in this one it killed him because I went through and I was watching this video on Twitter, and it looked like he could have gone, like it was designed to go a little bit more to the left, like off tackle, and it was kind of open, like if the snap had gotten right to him, but he
could
had
have
to
cut
dig
up
it
there,
out of
yeah.
the ground, and then he's just like, fuck it, I'm going to run.
Yeah.
And didn't get anything. But yeah, now Michigan, I mean, they win the national championship. But you think that's an asterisk?
It don't matter because fucking Harbaugh's gone.
Yeah, but I
He
mean,
already hired the same agent as Sean Payton and some of the highest paid coaches in the NFL, so it's just writing on the wall. He's out of there.
he's definitely out of there.
Well, I think he knows too that they're going to wrap it up, and he's like, "I've done what." That's basically all he was going to do, was go win them a championship and then leave.
yeah,
But I think if he did it in like his first season there, he probably would have stuck
Maybe,
around for
yeah.
a while. But like he's kind of like, especially after all his sign stealing shit, and they kind of fucking
that's
ostracize him
what
for
I've
it.
heard is really why he wants out of there. He's
Yeah.
tired of like the extra disciplinary acts that come along with being a college coach.
Yeah,
The NIL
having to
deals,
all this
transfer
shit.
portal.
I mean, let's just talk about the fact that there's fucking QBs in the college game that are making more than Brock Purdy, who
Yep.
is up until 2 weeks ago the MVP, or up there in terms
Yeah.
of possible MVP of the NFL.
Well, and now
He's got a roommate making $800,000.
Yeah, seriously, he has to have a roommate in San Francisco where the tax, the state taxes are outrageous, and city taxes. But he's the guy that is now the franchise leader in passing yards in a season for the 49ers. We're talking
Joe
Steve
Montana.
Young,
Steve
Joe
Young.
Montana. Joe Montana was a quarterback?
Montana?
Jeff Garcia was the actual old leader. I totally forgot about him until I saw the record.
Good old Jeff, dude.
Yeah.
That guy.
Now Brock Purdy's the leader, and he's the guy that, is making less than Arch Manning right now.
Yeah, which is insane. Arch Manning isn't even starting.
No, it didn't start one game this year.
No. And, he's making more than an NFL player, which is just fucked up.
Fucking wild. And, I mean, dude, and what's sad about it is Alabama lost that game. Players immediately declared for the draft. They said, screw this. And the worst part about it is Alabama, the school that has more college football championships than any other school. You look at their locker room, and it looks like a state-of-the-art locker room fitness facility from the future.
Yeah.
And they begged people for money, donors and boosters for money after this game, saying, we need more help with the NIL. That's embarrassing to me, man.
Yeah,
that's sad.
And this is the thing we were talking about. Like, this is just opening up a whole other can of worms, like where these guys aren't going to go to the NFL because why?
Yeah.
Well, for what? To go get a fucking rookie contract?
Yep.
I'm making more than that now.
Yep. If I was Marvin Harrison, if I was Caleb Williams, I'd stick around.
No, I'm going to go make 5 or 6, and I'll wait till they catch up.
Yeah. You go to the NFL, you go out to a nightclub, there's going to be cameras everywhere. You could go in college and go to a party.
Yeah.
Go to
Dude, what's basically going to happen is the axis is going to flip, and we're going to go back to the Sam Bradford days. It's really what's going to happen.
Yep.
Where these guys are coming out of college making $20 million.
And then you look at those number one picks. I mean, this was getting talked about right after the games. That, I mean, you look at some of these number one picks, like Baker's finally having a resurgence year, but I mean, it's rare. A lot of these number one picks, they're not Bryce Young.
Yeah, case in point.
I mean,
CJ Stroud looks better than he did, and he was
CJ Stroud. It's like all the hype around the number. I mean, Johnny Manziel, even though he wasn't number one pick, it's like these guys can be hyped up all they want, but can they handle the pressure of being the NFL? It's wild. I mean, it's a wormhole that we get into for a while. But, we talked about Georgia, Michigan. Let's talk about Washington real quick, man.
Yeah, Washington beats
I fell asleep in the end of that game.
Tejas 37-31, and it didn't seem like it was going to be a close game coming in down the stretch, but Texas just rallies back and actually gets it to the point where Washington on the last play has to win that game. And both of these games actually ended up coming down to the final play of the game, which was the only real bright spot in terms of these games, is that the 2 games that mattered the most were really good games.
I think this is the 8th year of the college football playoff. I always look forward to semifinal games more. Just because, it's a little juicier and stuff like that. Because once it gets, perfect example last year,
TCU.
TCU getting beat by like 60 points or some shit. But but this year we really got it. And there have been a lot of years where the semifinals haven't been good at all because these teams just get, it's just such a high pressure situation for these young players. And this year, it really lived up to the hype. It was great.
Yeah.
Dude, that Washington offense though, man, I saw like a bunch of like different Facebook Chiefs feeds that I follow that was like, can we just draft one of these Washington wide receivers?
All of those wide receivers are fucking, they should be first round wide receivers, second round tops, you know what I mean?
Eating dinner and I'm watching the game on silent on my phone and I'll just see Penix just launch the ball and I'm like, surely they're not going to come down with this. The coverage was blanketed every time. Odunzie. The other guys, I can't remember. He's the only one I can remember, but they're all just
surprising
studs,
with a name like that.
It's a really cool name.
And it's crazy to think about too. Michael Penix Jr. has 2 ACLs on his right knee, and both of his shoulders have been significantly injured.
He's torn 2 ACLs. Wow, I never knew that, man.
This is the first time in college that he started this many games.
Well, that's good because he's a transfer from Indiana.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I don't know. Everybody's talking about him like he may be the quarterback of the draft that will be like the CJ Stroud, where everybody's looking at these guys in the top 5 and they probably won't pan out, and he could theoretically be like, that kind of sleeper guy.
I think if he puts on 10 or 15 pounds,
he needs a little bit more weight. Yeah.
He's a little scrawny. That's what I was going to get out with like Bryce Young. That was his biggest criticism going into the draft. He's tiny.
Yeah.
And I watched the play that he got hurt on, and maybe I'm wrong on this, but from what I saw, it looked like the lineman just kind of fell on him. Not like
Just smashed him.
not like a leg or anything like that, but just kind of fell on his back, and he's just holding his butt like. Oh.
He's like, I only weigh 160, man.
Seriously,
I'm
dude.
5'5". Leave me alone.
You know, like he's just small.
He crushed me. Yeah, so I don't know. Yeah, these guys coming out of college, they do, just aside from the actual speed of the game, like they all do need to get a little beefier, unfortunately.
Oh yeah,
There's very few guys who come out of college in terms of like offensive guys. I mean, you'll see those defensive freaks. Obviously, DK Metcalf was a fucking freak, but
yeah,
a lot of these guys are like, yeah, you need to put on about 10.
yeah. I mean, there's a big difference between an NFL player and then a college player, and they separate themselves out once they start playing.
They definitely do, and it's time.
Let's just give you a quick update on men's college basketball.
Oh, I forgot, Chad. I wanted to touch on basketball.
Yeah, just going to touch on it real quick. Number one ranking right now, Purdue is still number one.
The Boilermakers.
And then the Gamecocks, South Carolina is number one in the women's basketball.
The old Gamecocks.
Yep. But yeah, that's it. I'll get it more into that as the season progresses.
Yeah, we'll be able to do a lot more on these other sports as now we are entering into the playoffs of football.
That's right.
And there's significantly less to cover. So let us now separate ourselves from college football and we'll move into the NHL.
Goal.
We gotta go. We gotta go. It is time for the NHL right now. Chad, start us off with the first thing you want to talk about.
Well, we had a Winter Classic over the weekend.
We did.
Yep. They played. Where did they play that game? Was it in Seattle? No.
Let me tell you. Hold
But it
on
was
a
an
second.
outdoor stadium, but I forgot where. I mean, the Seattle Kraken played the Vegas Golden Knights, and they beat them 3-0. And Joey Decord posts his second career shutout. And yeah, the Seattle Kraken take the win in the Winter Classic.
Yeah, and also in that game, Joey Decord became he ended up leading his team to a 3-0 win. I think it was his first shutout. Oh, his second career shutout. Yeah. So
35 saves, I think.
Yeah, and it's just the fourth since the NHL started playing outdoor games on a more frequent basis, beginning with the Heritage Classic in 2003. So the Kraken keep on cracking, man.
Did you see the walkouts though for the Kraken?
Yeah, they wore something crazy, didn't they?
No, they had looked like fishermen tossing fish in between
like
the
a fish
players.
market.
Yeah, it was pretty hilarious. It was really cool. Then I think for the Golden Knights, they had like flames right next to them. I mean, they really went all out for it. It was pretty sweet.
I want to try and figure out where it was. God damn it!
I know, because I don't think it was in Vegas, because it was at a baseball stadium, I thought. But I think Vegas was the home team. Well, if anybody's looking forward to a good hockey game tonight, the Penguins take on the Capitals. Yeah.
It should be a very good one. Oh, it was at Seattle Mariners, T-Mobile Park in Seattle.
Got it. That makes sense. Right.
I thought that it was at the baseball stadium, but I couldn't remember. But
yep.
Real quick, though, let me talk to you about the NHL Awards Watch that's going on right now. Because we've got a few things going.
Well, our own Nate McKinnon is really up there, too.
Yeah, let's talk about the Art Ross Trophy, which you mentioned earlier goes to the points leader of the NHL. The current leader is Nikita Kucherov from the Tampa Bay Lightning. He's got 61 of them points. But guess what? Our very own Nathan McKinnon is right behind him, sitting there with 58 points. So we could possibly see Nathan McKinnon get 2 of the NHL best of trophies this year. But right now we're going to move into the Maurice Rocket Richard Trophy, which is the leading goal scorer. Currently right now, Austin Matthews is the leader for the Toronto Maple Leafs. He's got 29 goals. Also, Nikita Kucherov makes sense. Tampa Bay Lightning, 26 goals. But let's move into the big one, which is the Hart Trophy, which is basically the MVP of the NHL. Right now, the leader is Nathan MacKinnon. For 19 games this season, Nathan MacKinnon cannot be stopped. In his 19-game point streak was the second longest by Avalanche player in franchise history. He posted 13 goals, 23 assists in those 19 games. He is playing out of his mind. I think he had he did have the first ever 4-goal game, and then he's basically averaging like 3 points a game right now, which is just insane.
Yeah, that's a lot.
So he is playing really good. Let's move it to the top defenseman, which is the Norris Trophy. Leader right now is Quinn Hughes for the Vancouver Canucks. Let's see here. It's basically they're thinking it's going to be a 2-person race between him and Cale Makar.
Let's hope Makar gets it.
Yeah, let's hope so, because, I mean, it'd be nice, but, we'll see how that goes out, because I think Makar is, I don't know, he's been injured a lot this year, so I don't know if he is actually going to make it. The other finalist is also Noah Dobson from the New York Islanders. I do think it'll probably be Quinn Hughes that ends up getting that one, unfortunately, just because of how Makar's been off and on this year. He's dealing with something, and as we all know in the NHL, oh my God, they don't tell you what's going on with any of these guys. That's the first time I've done that in a few weeks. You just always get the upper body, lower body type stuff, so he's got one of those lingering issues that they won't really tell us about. But the last but not least is the Calder Trophy. That goes to the top rookie, and right now, as should be, Connor Bedard is leading, and it's for the second straight month. He is the unanimous choice for NHL Rookie of the Year.
No doubt about that.
I don't know. He's basically playing almost 20 minutes a game, which is the highest for any rookie forward, and he looks like he's legit. Some of the plays he's had, I forget what it's called. The
Michigan.
The Michigan. Yeah, I almost said Minnesota. the Michigan goal last week was insane, and he's looking like he is the next
real
next
deal.
Big guy. So we'll see if
the next
he can,
Mario Lemieux,
maybe.
Yeah.
To round it out, though, we got one more, and that is the Vezina Trophy for top goaltender. Right now, Thatcher Demko from the Canucks is in the lead, with other finalists being Aiden Hill from the Golden Knights, who has, since the basically inception of the Golden Knights, when he took over for God damn, I can't think of his name. Aiden Hill took over for the original Golden Knights goalie, who was one of the older goalies in the league. And since then, he has been at the top of his game. And then the other finalist is Connor Hellebuck from the Winnipeg Jets. So, that's
nice.
what we're looking at for some of the possible winners of the trophies at the end of the year.
Nice. Oh, yeah. All right. Well, the Calgary Flames beat the Flyers to end Philly's 9-game road point streak. So the Flyers have been playing some really good hockey lately.
Yeah.
Got that streak snapped, but watch out for them because, they're trying to make up for the other Philly sports that just always fall short.
Oh, Aiden Hill took over for Brossois.
Gotcha.
Real quick, though, let's run down the leaders of the conferences / the divisions real quick. We've got the Boston Bruins in the Atlantic. They've got a total of 50 points with 22 wins, 7 losses, and 6 overtime losses. Dropping down to the Metropolitan Division, we've got the New York Rangers. They got 25 wins, 9 losses, 1 overtime loss, and 51 points. They are actually leading the league right now in points. Moving into the Western Conference with the Central Division, we've got the Colorado Avalanche sitting at 23-11 and 3 overtime losses with 49 points.
And they are playing right now.
They are playing. It just probably
just
dropped puck
yeah.
like 5 minutes ago.
Yep.
So we'll give you an update on them if we get to it. In the Pacific, we have the Vancouver Canucks with 23 wins, 10 losses, 3 overtime losses, and 49 points. So if just a quick touch on our Avalanche. Still, I'm surprised they're in the lead in the Central because they are working through things. And
they're hanging in there.
They are hanging in there. So, yeah, that's going to wrap up NHL unless you've got anything else, Chad. You got anything else you want to mention?
That's it for me.
All right. Well, there was one thing in the MLB. Chris Sale got traded to the Braves. Other than that, we're not going to go deep into it. We're kind of past the MLB at this point. But it is that time of the show where we get into the music break. And guess what? It is the new year, a new month, and that means that we have a new music guest this week and this month, all month long, is Flight KAMIKAZE. They are a
Flight Kamikaze.
Flight KAMIKAZE. They are a really cool pop punk band, however the hell you want to put it into genres. It's good music nonetheless. But the name of this song is Regurgitate.
Whoa.
And we will be back shortly. In the meantime, take a listen and give them a like and follow. We'll be right back.
Can't melt it into me.
And we are back for
Yes,
the
we are.
final time of episode 66. If you stuck around during the break, you just heard Flight KAMIKAZE. The name of that song is Regurgitate. If you would like to, please go ahead and like, follow, share, subscribe them on all things social media, streaming, whatever it is, as they are a rad Denver band. And we would love for you guys to help promote them, and hopefully their fans will do the same for us. So thank you guys for sticking around. We appreciate it as always.
Yes, we do.
Indubitably.
All right, Chris.
Yes. It's time.
We got to get into.
We got to get into them deep dives. So I'm going to hit you with a little bit of this one.
Need the ball. Get me the ball.
Get you the ball.
Are you gonna get me the ball?
I'll get you the ball.
I hope he doesn't kill somebody.
I hope he does.
I'm back. I'm back. Get the ball. Motion. The ball.
I got it.
It's a good one.
Yes, indeed. Who wants to start this one? You want me to? I think.
Yeah, I think I started last week.
Okay, all right,
Right
all right.
ahead.
Let me do it as we get into the deep dives. This week, I am deep diving the Rams, the 9-7 Rams versus the 5-11 Giants, as the Rams eke out a win 26-25. After a year-long absence and going 5-12, the Rams have returned to the playoffs, and they did so on the back of KYREN Williams, who we'll be talking about a little bit later. Williams was by far the star of this game as he runs for 3 touchdowns, a career best, not to mention going 87 yards on 20 carries, as well as 2 receptions for 14 yards. He now sits in second in terms of leading rushers, and his breakout second season continues. He scored on runs of 4, 2, and 28 yards, and now has 12 rushing touchdowns and 3 receiving touchdowns on the year, compared to last year where he started 10 games and had no touchdowns and only 139 yards rushing on 35 attempts and 9 receptions for 76 yards. Williams' second touchdown was set up by the inevitable Rookie of the Year, Puka Nacua, who had an 80-yard catch and run in the third. He finished the game with 5 receptions for 118 yards and pretty much sealed up Offensive Rookie of the Year, I think. So
yeah, there's no doubt about that.
I think if Stroud didn't miss those couple games, it would have gone to him, but now Puka Nacua having the greatest receiving year of a rookie pretty much ever. Or Sam Laporta. I mean, you could go either way, really.
Technically, I guess he's, I think, 6 catches away from breaking, I think it's Odell's rookie record. And then in yards, I think he's only like 30 yards away. So technically, he didn't break it in the 16-game slate.
He came close.
But he got real close. But, I mean, he'll eventually own the record.
There'll always be an asterisk there now. But what can you do?
Pardon me.
Williams' 28-yard score, this is KYREN Williams, happened in the fourth, was set up by Stafford's 37-yard pass to Demarcus Robinson. Speaking of Matt Stafford, he threw for 317 yards and a touchdown, but he also had his first 2 interceptions in the last 5 games. But in doing so, led them to their 3rd straight win in the last 7 games. So while he did have a little bit of, a hiccup with the interceptions, they're still doing really well right now. The Rams did not have to wait for the Steelers to beat this, or they did have to wait for the Steelers to beat the soaring Seahawks 3 hours after their game ended to find out that they clinched. But nonetheless, they did what they had to do in order to secure their spot in the postseason this year, which is a great turnaround after last year where they were just terrible. So moving on to the Giants, they did have a chance to pull off the upset when Gunnar Olszewski Olszewski.
It's a wild last name, man.
I had it, and then I came into
I
it
think
hot.
it's Gunnar Olszewski.
Oh, dude, it's like Shashevsky?
Yeah.
Where there's like a whole bunch of letters that don't matter, and they just make up their own sounds.
Name.
Olszewski.
Olszewski.
He took a punt 94 yards to get the Giants within 1 point with 3:27 to go. After the Rams encroached on the extra point, Dable decided to go for it, but Tyrod Taylor missed the wide-open Saquon Barkley to get the go-ahead score.
Yep.
Taylor himself admitted he had trepidation in terms of whether or not to keep the ball and run for the conversion himself or inevitably pass the ball. He decided wrong, unfortunately.
Yep.
He did have a decent game going, 27-41 for 319 yards and 1 touchdown and 1 interception. He also had 6 carries for 40 yards. 31 of those yards came on a scramble that set up the game-winning field goal attempt by Mason Crosby, but he missed it wide left. It might not have had the distance either way, but,
I mean,
you can always hope.
I just feel like the play call in that sequence was just horrible. I thought for sure the Giants were going to win it. Tyrod Taylor, I mean, it's coming down to the end of the game. So this comes after they scored that, what was that punt return? Olszewski, okay. So then the Rams get the ball back, don't do shit. I think just get sacked, and then punt the ball away. And then so the Giants have one more chance, and it's looking like it's going to, they're not going to do shit. Then Tyrod Taylor takes off for like 30 yards, gets within close to field goal range, and they just run a halfback draw from shotgun. And then get tackled like 2 yards loss. And then it's like, then they're having to hurry up.
Crosby.
I think they've got like one timeout at
Former
that point.
CU Buff.
Oh, wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
He was like from the 2002
Yeah,
team.
from a long time ago, probably. But yeah, I mean, it's just like nuts. It's like, man, you get that close to field goal range. Don't play that conservative. I mean, that's what you run if you're trying to run the clock out. But I mean, you need to get another 5 yards to get that old man in field goal
at
range.
least set it up on a hash or something, run an out route to the to the sidelines or something.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, so yeah, he misses it. Tyrod Taylor's lone touchdown came on an 80-yard catch and run by Darius Slayton, who finished with 4 receptions for 106 yards and a touchdown. Like I said, unfortunately, Crosby not only missed the game-winning field goal, he also missed the extra point, leaving the score at 20-16 on that Slayton touchdown. Wan'Dale Robinson also had a 24-yard touchdown run on the end around, his only carry of the game, because Tyrod Taylor actually was the leading rusher in this game. And in terms of defense, Dane Belton was the star. He had 2 interceptions and a fumble recovery. Prior to his first interception, Stafford had thrown 170 consecutive passes without an interception, which is just, it's weird when you get into those hundreds without a bugaboo,
That's
but
surprising.
despite 2 of those turnovers, LA led 14-10 at halftime thanks to KYREN Williams' 10th touchdown and a 4-yard touchdown pass to Cooper Kupp, who ended up with a quiet day, 4 receptions, 27 yards, and a touchdown. Up next, the Rams take on San Fran, and there will be a bunch of folks sitting probably for San Fran, so they may end up with a win in that one.
Yeah, and I don't really think the Rams even need to.
They don't probably need. I don't think they can move up.
They
or anything.
clinched a playoff spot,
yeah,
too,
I don't think they can move up. So it's probably going to be not a fun game, as a lot of these games are at the end of the season, unless you have something to play for. And the Giants end their season against the reeling Eagles, which I'm sure the Giants would love to give them another loss, making it, 5 of 6 games
sure they
now?
would.
5 losses in 6 games. So
I bet the Giants would love to play spoiler.
Oh, yeah, who wouldn't?
Knock the Eagles down to like the 6th spot. Right now they're at 5.
They're going to be a fucking wild card after going 9-1.
That'd be crazy, man. Oh, God. Well, let's get into the Eagles, man. You all done with that?
Yeah.
All right, sweet. Well done, sir.
Take it over, dude.
All right. Well, I did the Cardinals versus the Eagles, where the Cardinals surprised everybody and beat the Eagles 35-31 in what I'm calling Jonathan Gannon's revenge game. Because it was. I mean, the head coach of the Cardinals used to be the defensive coordinator for the Eagles, and he really kind of screwed over the Eagles when it came to their defensive plans for the future, because he couldn't make up his mind if he was going to come back or not, and decided at the last second to take the Cardinals job, which then left the Eagles in a weird spot where they had to hire Sean Desai, and he got relieved of his duties three games ago, and then they moved on to the proverbial Matt why can't I say his name right now? Damn tongue twister.
Matt Patricia.
The
old pencil behind the ear guy.
Matt Patty. Let's call
Patty
him
Matt.
And he hasn't been doing them any service by any means. All right, so the Cards came from 15 down to upset Philly in the Battle of the Birds. Philly gave up 29 points in the second half, the most they've given up in the second half in over a decade.
Wow.
That seems pretty wild, but I mean, they've had a strong defense for a long time now, but this is if in the last 6 to 8 weeks, this defense has fallen to like not just one of the worst, but maybe the worst defense in the league.
Yeah, which is insane after we were talking about at the beginning of the year, like, oh my God, they're going to be unstoppable. And they were for a bit.
And we'll get into it more after I get through with all this, but I mean, it seems like there's some real rumblings in the locker rooms that things are not good. But since they've made their surprising twist to Matt Patricia, they've given up 17 plus points in the second half in 3 straight games. They're 1-2 in those games. So it doesn't seem like the pencil that he uses for his laminated card seems to do any good. Kyler Murray looked great in this game. 232 yards, 3 TDs, and 24 yards rushing. Only 1 interception, but still had a really decent game. But the star of the game, James Conner. Man, did you see this one-handed touchdown catch that he made?
I missed it now.
Well, you'll have to look it up real quick. I mean, dude, he just vacuumed that ball in. It was only like a 5-yard touchdown pass, but he'd already had a rushing touchdown. He had 128 yards on the ground for the day, and that receiving TD, man, I'm telling you, he just kind of ran this like option route, started running it out towards the sidelines, and just one hand pulled it right in. super impressive. But yeah, I'd say he's definitely the hero of the game. It was the most rushing yards Philly has given up all year, 221 yards by Arizona. Jesus. That's
they're getting run all over there.
And that's what's crazy is they were the best rush defense pretty much up until they played Kansas City, like week 8 or whenever that was. Then Kansas City happened to run all over them, and then I mean it just like ever since then they've been falling off. What else? They racked up Arizona did a whopping 449 yards a total on Philly. That's it's pretty sad. I mean, I could just keep beating up Philly's defense, but you got to really hand it to the Cardinals for giving it to them and coming to play when, you know, you don't really have much to play for. They're nowhere near playoff contention, but, you know, they're playing for the future. They're playing to try to keep, you know, some progression going into next year. They also had 41 first downs in this game.
Jesus.
Yeah. And that just
That's
goes
like
to
every
show
play is a first down.
it's nuts, and they really had a lot of 10-play drives, so they really didn't have a whole lot of drives in this game. They only had 7, but they scored on 6 of them. 6 out of 7 drives, and the only one they didn't score on, big play for Philly, Sidney Brown.
Oh, yeah, the interception return for a touchdown.
Yeah, 98 yards. The really crazy thing about this, I don't know if you knew this, the Eagles have Sidney Brown because of the trade of Jonathan Gannon.
Oh, he was like one of those weird little like
coach
trades.
trades.
One of these guys.
Fucking crazy. So he ends up getting the last laugh.
Look at that.
But that's pretty much all the Eagles defense was able to do. That's the only time they had a stop on Arizona. And, you know, I will say it was kind of shocking when the Cardinals took the lead, or I think it was to tie it up, 28-28 or something like that. They kicked an onside kick. Just like a surprise one. They didn't even line up like that. It's like 5 minutes left to go in the game, and of course the Eagles recovered.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He shouldn't onside kick anymore, people.
No, that was just
Sean
dumb.
Payton why you don't do that on the first play of the year
Yeah.
against the fucking Raiders.
Not a good call.
Yeah, I think there's like the 3% chance of recovering it, but whatever, you know.
I think it's got to be even lower than that now.
Probably.
Yeah.
It's just crazy, man. You look at the game, though, and like the Philly just died in the third quarter, man. That's what killed them.
Oh, man.
Absolutely no production in the third quarter, but
None at all. Jalen Hurts couldn't get the ball moving. I mean, it seems like if they're not doing the tush push, they're not getting first downs. They had a long, I think, 3rd and 17 at the end of the game to try to like get a first down. If not, the game's pretty much over. And they throw Jalen Hurts throws about like 10 yards short to not Devontae Smith. One of the Kenneth Gainwell, I think it was. And the pass falls incomplete, and you could clearly see A.J. Brown visibly frustrated. From what I was hearing, I alluded to a little bit earlier, it sounds like there is a lot of disgruntled players in the locker room. Disgruntled with everybody. You know?
Yeah.
I mean, it does. It's like we've talked about. It does seem very similar to the Chiefs. There are different nuances in between each one of them. Doesn't seem there's as much like internal feuding going on in the Chiefs locker room. But I mean, it seems like there's an unhappy family in Philadelphia right now.
yeah, it's surprising how the mighty have fallen. You know, it's just to go from, like we said, 9-1 now to like you've lost out on your division now. Cowboys are going to wrap it up pretty much.
They
next
handed
week.
it to Cowboys.
Now you're just only going to make it worse for yourself going into next week.
Yep.
Or this week actually, but yeah, we'll see how it goes, man. I'm wondering if this is. Is it a chink in the armor, or are these cracks starting to fissure a little bit, and is it going to just get worse?
Well, it's nuts. You know, when they lost their offensive coordinator and defensive coordinator, who are doing great this
a lot
year.
of people don't take that into consideration. They did lose 2 of the big pieces that made them who they were last year.
Jonathan Gannon, their defense was amazing last year, and then he goes on to coach the Cardinals that I just talked about, and then Shane Steichen goes on to coach the Colts, they're in the playoffs right now. They're at least in the hunt. I don't know.
Minshew.
I think they're 6th seed right now. I want to say maybe, but I mean they have a real chance to win the division. I know they play the Texans this week, and I mean. That's for a wild card spot.
Yeah, Indy's 7th.
Yeah,
behind the Buffalo Bills,
and he's doing that with Gardner Minshew. Jonathan Taylor was hurt earlier this year. I mean, Shane Steichen really making a case for Coach of the Year. But yeah, I mean, it's really nuts when you lose your offensive coordinator and defense coordinator. We see it with the Chiefs where we lost EB. It is a lot more detrimental than you realize.
Yeah. Yeah, like you said, we've seen it with Kansas City. The offense doesn't seem to have the same it's not working as like a well-oiled machine like it once was. And you guys did lose, obviously, Tyreek, but, you know, you've got these other guys in wide receiver room who are just far from, you know, producing. And now everybody's getting pissed off.
Yep, yeah, definitely. But, yeah, that's pretty much all I got for the Eagles. They take on, what'd you say, the Giants next week?
The Eagles take on. Give me 1 second.
I had it pulled up at it.
Oh shit! I went to the standings. Sorry. The Eagles take on. Where the fuck are they at?
I thought it was the Giants.
I think you're right. Oh shit! I'm in week 17. That's why I'm looking at last week's games. That would explain it.
That damn extra week.
Philadelphia at New York. Yeah, 225. So.
Okay. What about Cardinals?
Cardinals are taking on Seattle in Arizona at 225.
Oh yeah, and Seattle's pretty much I think they did get eliminated by losing last week.
I believe so.
Or if not, like they're pretty much out. But yeah, you know. Should be interesting. Week 18.
Seattle's in 8th right now.
Okay.
So, yeah.
They need some help.
They need help. Everybody needs help, but you know who doesn't need help? John Daly.
Damn right.
You know why? Because he hits it hard, man.
I hit it hard, man. So far, man. No laying up, no holding back. Ain't afraid of nothing, it's a natural fact. I hit it long, man. Till it's gone, man. Keep taking chances, living large. I hit it hard.
That's right. We're hitting it hard. We're gripping and ripping it as we reach the end of episode 66. If you guys have made it this far, please like, share, subscribe, and follow us on all things social media. And if you are listening or watching, please subscribe and rate us 5 stars. It helps immensely. But now it is time to get into the daily dose of excellence. I'm going to let Chad start us out here because he picked this one this week. So
yeah.
Tell us about it, Chad.
I was watching the Rams and Giants game, and I actually had a parlay, a 5-leg parlay of anytime touchdowns with like 5 running backs. And KYREN Williams hit his, so I was pretty psyched. And then I see as he scores his touchdown, he goes and hands the ball to this lady in the stands. And Mark Sanchez on the call makes a point to say that's his mom that he's handing the ball to.
Yeah.
And watching the game live, I'm in amazement because I see this man wrestled the ball away from her when she just got the ball from her son. And yeah, you see a battle for this, you know, football, and she sure enough, like Mark Sanchez puts it, digs it and rips it. Yeah.
She rips it right away from him.
Dip and rip. You see that? That's what he called it.
Dip and rip.
Yep. And so she ripped it back and then goes and sits down in her seat. And I just thought, like, that's fucking cool for her to fight for it like that from a fucking asshole. This man that was clearly large, you know, bigger than her is going to try to wrestle. I mean, you know, where's the chivalry? There's a lady there, and just biggest fucking douchebag move I've seen all weekend, man.
Yeah, we've seen stuff like this before. Oh my god, I did it again. I need to move that so bad.
Funny,
yeah, we've seen it before though. You see like these guys rip balls away from kids at the baseball games, stuff like that. It is just like, I don't know why you think like, yo, they're handing it to you. I'm going to rip it away from you. It's mine now. It's up in the stands. It's free game.
Yeah.
It doesn't make any sense.
It doesn't make any sense. And not only that, if you are going to be a total fucking dick and do this, do you not think that there's thousands of cameras in the stadium that you might get put on blast and go viral. Like there's somebody that's gonna say, "Hey, dude, I saw my coworker at this game ripping this," and then you're gonna go back to work being the laughing.
Oh, you're
stock.
the guy that ripped the ball away from the old lady,
man.
the dude's mom.
You don't
She's
get
probably not
donut.
old. He's probably like 20 years old.
She doesn't look that
She's
old.
probably not much older than we are. At
He's
this
gonna go
point.
back to work and they're gonna be like, "You don't get donuts, man. Fuck you."
Yeah, you get donuts,
Yep.
or they'll give him the donut and then they'll just rip it away from him.
That's what they should do.
Just here you go,
That's a
dude.
good one.
No, you
How's
don't
it
get a
feel?
fucking
How's it
donut.
feel?
Give me that
Seriously, man.
donut, motherfucker.
Could not believe it.
You
Such a
suck.
heartwarming moment. He hands the ball to his mom, and then this guy tries to take it away. But luckily, that's why she deserves the daily dose of excellence, because
Always.
she can hold on to the ball just like KYREN Williams,
Yeah.
and takes it right back.
Yeah.
Yep.
And much like her son, she was one of the big parts of this game as he wound up with 3 touchdowns, making
And-
the difference as to why the LA Rams won.
Like
So-
you alluded to earlier, man, I mean, this guy's only been in the league for 2 years, and he's second in rushing yards so far, just under Christian McCaffrey. I mean, who expected KYREN Williams to splash?
Nobody. I mean, if you
this?
go back to the beginning of the fantasy season, I can't remember where he got
No,
drafted.
because remember Cam Akers was
He
drafted
was supposed
above
to,
him.
yeah.
Yep. But
So yeah, KYREN Williams is technically a backup at
I
the
think
beginning of the
Cam
season.
Akers was cut like week 3 or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, there was that whole weird thing where like they were just like,
Yeah, he got traded to the Vikings. I
yeah,
think. Yeah.
they're like, yeah, they didn't want to be together anymore. So
Yeah,
they broke
but-
up.
Yeah, KYREN Williams. If anybody's been using him on fantasy, I mean, dude, he won you your championship.
Probably, yeah.
got you far at least.
Yeah,
And,
especially
you
this
know,
last week.
Hats off. We don't have any name for his mom. No big deal there or anything. But KYREN passed this off to her. Hats off to her for doing a good job raising such a badass and being a good example by not letting anybody take your footballs or anything that you have.
You take what's yours.
Stand your ground.
Damn
That's why
right.
there's a law for that.
There is. You get shot.
Yeah, watch out for that law. Yeah, but good old fuck you to that guy that tried to steal the ball.
Yeah, that guy's a dick. He is not a French fanatic.
Nope.
He's a fanatic fuck.
Don't listen to us, man. don't download our shit.
Yeah.
You suck.
Actually, do, and then tell a couple of your friends, but then you quit listening because
Yeah.
you don't deserve it.
That's right. We'll rip the rights away from you.
All right, man. Well, we have made it to
We
the
did.
end of episode 66. It's been a rip-roaring time. It's the beginning of the new year.
Yeah, first episode of 2024,
Yeah,
man.
First episode of 2024. We've been now doing this since 2022.
Yeah, and you think about like where this podcast was at just a year ago. Yeah, we're doing pretty good, man.
Yeah, I think a year ago we didn't have any video. We were just, we probably had just barely gotten microphones.
That's pretty much about it. Yeah, like you just said earlier, we've gained a lot of followers on Facebook and some socials, so that's good. And I'll
Yeah.
say it again. If you guys take a screenshot of you sharing the episode or sharing some content, we will get in touch with you and send you a sticker or any type of other swag that you might want.
For
So,
now,
get
until
at us.
it gets to the point where there's too many to send out, which we're hoping
That's
is sooner than
the
later.
goal. Now you see.
But yes, thank you guys as always for tuning in. We appreciate you greatly.
Yep.
We will see you next week. Until then, stick around, be ready, and keep watching sports because we'll be back talking about them next week.
right.
Until then, though, we will see you guys later. Chadley, I love you, buddy.
Love you, buddy.
We
Have a
will
good week, man.
See you tomorrow.
Yeah, I'll see you tomorrow, actually.
All right, man.
Yep. All right. Farewell.
Toodles.